This is ABC7 News at 5. Your Suncoast News. We're here for you.
Good evening, I'm Haley Wilgus. Scott Dennis has the night off. Thanks for being with us. Our top story tonight, a 6-hour standoff with Manatee County Sheriff's deputies in Bradenton ends with the death of a suspect. The sheriff says the suspect was holding the manager of a mobile home park hostage at gunpoint before SWAT moved in. ABC7's Jess Dowdrick is live in Bradenton where this all happened. Jess.
Good evening, Haley. We are just learning the name of the suspect tonight. He's identified as 68-year-old Glenn Waitenpool. He was a resident of Pescara Lake Mobile Home Park, which you can see behind me. He was shot and killed by police earlier this afternoon after a 6-hour hostage situation where he was holding the park manager hostage inside of the clubhouse. We've now learned the identity of the park manager as well. He's 53-year-old Mike Allball. He did survive the attack after being hit over the head with a firearm that the suspect had in his hands. Into neighborhood was anything but on Thursday. Residents of Pescara Lake Mobile Home Park woke up to find dozens of deputies and the SWAT team outside of their homes.
Then they knocked on our back bedroom window and told us that we had to grab what we need and get the heck out. When we were ready, then we opened our side door and the SWAT team guy with the shield made us get behind him and cut through the backyards and out onto the street.
A resident of the park was holding the park manager hostage at gunpoint inside of the park office.
He made the point a couple times that this was his day to be heard, and this is how he was going to do it.
The suspect was distraught. Deputies say he was angry that he was being evicted and frustrated about apparent rumors going around the neighborhood about him. Sheriff's office negotiators spoke with him for hours.
We tried to have him release the hostage on several occasions. He wouldn't do that.
Meanwhile, residents sat on a bus provided by the county and on the side of the street, waiting for it all to end. After 6 hours in a standoff, the SWAT team went in.
The SWAT team entered the building. He began to fire at them, and they had to return fire for their safety.
The suspect was shot and killed. The park manager was rushed to the hospital for a head injury after being hit over the head by one of the 2 guns that the suspect was carrying. Deputies say no members of law enforcement were injured during the crossfire.
It was scary. I mean, I've never had anything like this happen to me before.
Deputies say that the suspect had 2 firearms on him when he was killed this afternoon, and park management says that up until today, they didn't have any violent incidences with the suspect. In Bradenton, Jess Dowdrick, ABC7, your Suncoast News.
Thank you, Jess. A Bradenton man is facing felony charges tonight after authorities say he impersonated a police officer and robbed a Sarasota woman. Sarasota County Sheriff's deputies say Felix Alling Montenegro followed a woman home on Sunday and then blocked her car so she couldn't get away. The suspect then showed the victim a photo ID with a star on it and a pair of handcuffs. Deputies say the suspect then hit the victim, stole her cell phone, and took off. The victim told deputies that Alling Montenegro was a regular customer at her work, and he told employees he was a police officer. He now faces charges of robbery and false impersonation of an officer. Manatee County Sheriff's deputies have arrested a man who they say ran down another man before stealing his SUV. It happened Wednesday evening at the Pilot gas station on 17th Street East in Ellenton. According to Sheriff's deputies, Brandon Matthews was seen attempting to steal various cars at the gas station. After 2 failed attempts, he jumped into a Chevy Tahoe and tried to drive off. The owner of the vehicle confronted Matthews, and Matthews backed up the Tahoe and hit the victim. Deputies later caught up with Matthews in Bradenton, where he was arrested. The victim was taken to a local hospital and treated. Matthews is charged with carjacking and is being held at the Manatee County Jail. The Florida Bar Association is filing ethics complaints with the state Supreme Court against a former circuit judge in Manatee County. The complaints are against former Judge John Lakin and 2 Palmetto attorneys. It comes after Lakin admitted to accepting tickets to Tampa Bay Rays games from attorneys with the Callens Little Delgado law firm, while their client's case was still pending in Lakin's courtroom. A judge will hold a case management conference about the complaints and will recommend any punishments to the Supreme Court, which could include probation or suspension. Lakin resigned from the bench last year. A new report ranks Florida first in the nation for fraud complaints. The Federal Trade Commission reports more than 269,000 people in the state who reported some type of fraud in 2016. Debt collection was the most common type of fraud, followed by imposter scams, and then in third place, identity theft. We spoke to one local victim of identity theft who says she is keeping a close eye on her personal information.
These people have my social security number. They have my driver's license. They know what I look like. You know, they have my address. So it's very scary.
Also in the top 3 states for scams were Georgia, Michigan, for the second year in a row. Sarasota County is looking at allowing commercial operators to offer kayak and paddleboard rentals at a second park. Right now, permitted operators are allowed to provide kayak and stand-up paddleboard tours and rentals to visitors at Ted Sperling Nature Park. But the county is looking at expanding the program so that operators can purchase permits to offer rentals and tours at Turtle Beach Park as well. The public is invited to a meeting to voice their opinions on this expansion idea. It will take place on Tuesday, April 18th at the Turtle Beach Park Community Room. And now for a check on our forecast, which is very windy. Let's head over to Bob.
It has been windy over the last several days now. The only difference, it's changed directions, and that has really changed things up here in terms of the dew point temperature and the relative humidity. So not nearly as humid out there. Relative humidity at 39%, winds out of the north-northwest at 20. And it's nice, it's a low humidity, but also it creates a high fire danger when you get strong winds like this and humidity value readings in the 30 percentile range. Now, as far as those winds go, stronger out on the islands, 20-mile-an-hour wind out of the west-northwest at Anna Maria and lesser amounts inland. It's still breezy all the way into Arcadia. Out of the northwest at Warm Mineral Springs, as well as into Northport, right around 15 miles an hour. It will stay windy, too, tonight. We missed most of the severe weather. It occurred to our north and to our south. We had a water spout do some damage and turned into a tornado down near Pine Island. We'll talk more about that a little bit later, but for the time being, things are looking pretty good through this evening, just a bit cooler. With the complete forecast in just a few minutes. Haley?
Thank you, Bob. State college presidents, students, and several lawmakers are speaking out about potential budget cuts for the upcoming fiscal year. Both the House and Senate have laid out plans calling for millions of dollars in funding reductions for Florida's 28 two-year state and community colleges. Supporters of the schools say these cuts will hurt the students who don't want to go straight to a traditional four-year university. The president of Pasco Hernando State College also says state and community colleges are often overlooked for the services they provide when compared with universities.
At the university, you have your football teams, your athletic teams, and I think we tend to identify more with superstars and that nature versus on the front end, making sure students who would not be served are served through our state college system.
The Florida Senate is looking to increase university funding by more than 10% next year while cutting the budget of these state colleges. In the House, both colleges and universities are looking at funding cuts. And ABC7 business commentator Richard Stern is joining us now. We did finish in up territory, but not nearly as high as some of those intraday highs, Richard.
Haley, you've got it exactly right. The Dow Jones Industrial Average was up by 98 points at the high of the day, and then we ran into those three famous words, and they are geopolitical risk. President Trump, on his way to Florida this afternoon, mentioned that if necessary, the U.S. would go it alone in Syria and also in North Korea. That certainly scared investors as plus 98 almost went to break even, did stay in plus territory, and we did rally just a few minutes before the close. So we had a positive close, and the Dow actually the worst performer of the three indexes we follow on a regular basis. Let's take a look at how we closed out the day. The Dow indeed was up by 15 points, not even 0.1%, but the arrow is pointed in the right direction, closing at 20,662.95. That on volume of 618 million shares. A respectable day for the NASDAQ, up by 0.25%, almost 15 points, closing at 5,878.95. That on volume of 1,451 million shares. And the S&P up 0.2%, just over 4.5 points at 2,357.49. Well, it looks like all those 20% off coupons are finally working at Bed Bath & Beyond. The retailer, like many retailers, has been struggling lately. Its stock has been down 7% so far this year and down 23% in the last 12 months. But today, the stock was up by 6% at the high of the day, up by more than 3% at the close. The company said its same-store sales did show an improvement and also said it was increasing its dividend by more than 15%. Put that all together, investors are happy, and while the stock is still down for the year, a gain today certainly looked attractive. Again, retailers have been struggling of late, no question about that.
So many of them. And Richard, you have some news, speaking of retailers, on Costco.
And another retailer that's bucking the trend. Costco really today announced a same-store sales increase of 6%, which is very impressive. And as you'd expect, the stock was up on that news as well.
All right. Thank you, Richard.
You're welcome.
And still to come on your Suncoast News, the passing of a Hollywood legend. A look back at the incredible comedic and film career of Don Rickles. And ABC7 Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan will be back with your full weather forecast. Plus, the key to super-agers, why some people have better memories as they get older, in Health Smart.
When you've been in banking for a long time, it's easy to forget what it was like in the beginning. It took a lot of work and dedication for 7 teachers to start our credit union and create a foundation that we continue to build on today. At Achieva, we never lose sight of the values that have defined us for over 75 years. We know you need mobile banking and lightning-fast solutions, but sometimes you might just need a helping hand. Any bank can make a transaction, but it takes a little more to make a difference. And that's good to know. Achieva, banking for good.
Come into a California Closet showroom to experience our quality materials and construction. Spend time choosing from exciting colors, textures, and accessories, and then collaborate with one of our expert designers to create the perfect custom storage solution to fit your style and budget. At California Closets, we design everything to exceed your expectations for any room in your home. Go to CaliforniaClosets.com to request a free design consultation and locate the nearest showroom to you. California Closets, designed to your life.
You only have one life. Are you gambling with it? 1 in 3 adults have high blood pressure. Not knowing your numbers could cause you to lose, big time. Luckily, you can turn the odds in your favor by getting your blood pressure checked today. Don't leave your health to chance. Learn more at heart.org/HPV.
Today, everyone is looking for more fashionable choices in flooring than ever before. And G. Fried has responded with a huge selection of carpets, tile, wood, laminate, and vinyl. Installed by a highly skilled team, G. Fried has got everything you're looking for and more. The next time you think about quality flooring, think G. Fried Flooring America. G. Fried Flooring America. Our world is at your feet.
The official salon of ABC7. Cutting Loose Salon.
Florida Studio Theater presents Piano Men, held over by popular demand through April 2nd. Attributing the virtuosity and elegance of the Piano Man, Piano Men features the works of 20th century's best pianists and songwriters. Featuring songs from music icons such as Billy Joel, Stevie Wonder, and Barry Manilow, don't miss what critics are saying is energetic, with fun and playful performances that evokes hits of an era. Piano Men is held over by popular demand. Tickets can be purchased by calling 941-366-9000 or by visiting FloridaStudioTheater.org.
Don Rickles has died at the age of 90. The legendary comedian died this morning at his home in Los Angeles from kidney failure. That's according to his publicist. Stephanie Elam has a look back at his successful career.
Comedian Don Rickles was known for his unique brand of insult comedy. His humor was cutting, but never mean-spirited.
What I do is exaggerate life and make fun. I don't have to apologize for it.
Born Donald J. Rickles in Queens, New York on May 8, 1926, he got his start as a comedian on the club circuit. Rickles was discovered by none other than Frank Sinatra at Murray Franklin's nightclub during the 1950s. He told CNN's Larry King in 2004 how his friendship with the late American icon began.
And he sat down right in the front, and I started to do the thing. And one of the famous lines was, "Stand up, Frank, be yourself, hit somebody," you know. And the whole audience laughed, and all his guys with him went, "What do you think?"
Sinatra affectionately called Rickles Bullethead and championed the up-and-coming comedian's career. Their friendship survived several decades, with Rickles taking jabs at old Blue Eyes during his 80th birthday celebration in 1995.
No, God bless you, Frank. I make fun of you. What could you do to me? It was a great reactor for me, and he enjoyed my sense of humor, and I'm very grateful for it.
Rickles tested his acting chops in the 1958 movie Run Silent, Run Deep, opposite Clark Gable. He also made appearances in the popular Beach Blanket film series with Annette Funicello and Frankie Avalon.
I couldn't have done it better myself, if I could have done it.
Rickles caught Johnny Carson's attention and in 1965 began making regular appearances on The Tonight Show. Carson dubbed him Mr. Warmth.
I started with him when the show was 90 minutes, and I had great fun with him, and I was free form, and Johnny would set me up to make me look like a real champ. And that was one of the exciting parts of my life.
Rickles continued to make movies and soon became the go-to guy for laughs. In 1985, he performed at Ronald Reagan's second inaugural ball. He would later call the show the highlight of his career. In 1995, Rickles played Robert De Niro's trusted floor boss in Martin Scorsese's Casino. Mr. Warmth then became the voice of Mr. Potato Head in Disney Pixar's Toy Story franchise. He even had the chance to incorporate one of his famous calling cards.
What are you looking at, you hockey puck?
The funny man was honored with a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame in 2000. He then became a New York Times best-selling author in 2007 with his memoir, Rickles Book. The following year, his documentary, Mr. Warmth, The Don Rickles Project, earned him 2 Emmy Awards.
Well, it's like an accomplishment after some 55 years in the business, from starting out in tough joints and saloons and striptease, what they called those days, striptease joints, and to finally get to this makes me very proud.
Rickles is survived by his wife of 52 years, a daughter, a son, and 2 grandchildren. We are already starting to see warmer temperatures, although it is a little cooler today. But in fact, it's so warm near Fort Lauderdale, several elementary school students had to be treated for heat-related issues. Authorities in Lauderdale Lakes were called to an elementary school today for reports of children not feeling well. When they got there, they found 7 children suffering from heat-related illness. Authorities say the students were outside for a drill when they started feeling sick. 2 children were taken to the hospital in stable condition. The other 5 students were released to their parents. Temperatures were in the upper 80s in Lauderdale Lakes around noon. But when you add in the humidity and you're standing out there, you might not have water, because if you're doing a fire drill, you have to think about that.
Whatever,
right?
Yeah, just in the heat, and it causes all sorts of problems. Obviously, a lot of water needed in that situation, and they got some water with some rain. So the news is that although temperatures were in the upper 80s around noon, it has cooled there as a result of a cold front. It's the same cold front that brought us some rain this morning. Some showers, occasionally a thunderstorm, and then clearing by noon, and lots of sunshine, and then winds turning to the northwest, cooling things down. And we'll do so this evening and tomorrow and beyond. In fact, all the way through Saturday, temperatures will be on the cooler side. Weather headlines read like this: breezy and cooler tonight, plenty of sunshine in the forecast for Friday. And the big problem, hazardous boating conditions and rip currents along area beaches, so keep that in mind. Temperatures right now into the low 70s with that northwest wind. The Gulf water temperature keeping things a bit cooler right near the coast. Inland areas in the low 80s to mid 80s, but no mid 90s like we've been seeing over the past several days now. So some 10 to 15 degrees cooler than it has been over the past several days. That front has cleared the Lauderdale area for the most part. Some showers offshore and generally fair skies up and down west central Florida right now with a little bit of rainfall. It didn't help a lot, but we are going to see some problems with the high fire risk over the next 48 hours. Winds staying brisk out of the northwest through tonight and tomorrow, anywhere from 5 to 10, and then the afternoon picking up a little bit, anywhere from 5 to 20 miles an hour. And then we will see those winds eventually veer around more to an easterly direction, but that doesn't happen until Sunday. So that's when we'll start to see temperatures bounce back up to near 80 degrees by Sunday afternoon. 73 right now, and the winds out of the northwest sustained at 20. The pressure 29.96 inches, and the RPM forecast model showing fair skies overhead through tonight, tomorrow, and beyond. It looks like sunny skies right in through early next week. No major storm systems headed our way as high pressure will hold on over much of the eastern, looks like third of the nation. And it looks as though there's a weak system coming down the road, but that won't happen until late next week. They can see a big area of low pressure bringing snowfall into places like Detroit, near Toledo, some snow there. Also up into the upper part, peninsula of Michigan. We can see some snow falling near Toronto and some rainfall over the northeast as far as it goes. No severe weather anticipated with this system now that it's for the most part over for us. High tide upcoming 10:12 tonight for Sarasota Bay. Sunset will be at 7:50, sunrise at 7:14. Clear skies tonight. Temperatures mid to upper 50s along the coastline, low 50s to mid 50s inland. Northwest winds will make it feel pretty chilly to start the day off tomorrow. You'll notice that taking the kids to school, and it will be on the cool side. Then breezy and cool tomorrow. Mostly sunny. We'll have a reinforcing shot of cooler air come through around midday, so another weak cold front. No rain is anticipated with it, but it will feel cooler throughout the afternoon. Temperatures will actually start to fall after 2-3 o'clock in the afternoon. Well, here's the extended forecast as we see it. Temperatures in the low 70s both on Friday and Saturday. That's more in line with a January or February high temperature, and then we warm up by Sunday after a pretty cool start. Low 50s on Sunday morning, and then it's 80s the rest of the way out during the work week. Haley?
Thank you, Bob. Now to Suncoast Traffic Watch. There is some traffic on US 41 in Sarasota. That is near Fruitville Road. In health news tonight, women diagnosed with celiac disease may be more likely to face a secondary diagnosis of anorexia. The two do share similar symptoms. Researchers in the journal Pediatrics found that after celiac disease, women were 46% more likely to be diagnosed with anorexia. And those diagnosed with anorexia had twice the odds of a later diagnosis of celiac disease. Researchers aren't sure of the exact connection, but say dietary restrictions after a celiac disease diagnosis may trigger an obsessive eating pattern that could lead to anorexia. There are some older adults who retain a much sharper memory than their peers. They're often called super-agers. Researchers at Northwestern University found they aren't losing brain mass at the same rate as an average ager. The average person experiences atrophy in their brain at more than twice the rate of super-agers. The researchers plan to further study the composition of the cortex and which neurons are most vulnerable in aging. They also want to know what biological and lifestyle factors contribute to brain aging. Plus, coming up, an incredible rescue captured on camera. How rescue crews were able to help a woman crushed by a massive boulder. Plus, an M&M meltdown. A 7-Eleven customer loses it when he's told he can't buy a bag of candy. Wow, this story straight ahead.
The official Suncoast Storm team at ABC7. We're here for you.
Rose takes her volunteering for Tidewell Hospice very seriously. But she knows how to have fun, too. And that's what she brings when we're invited to visit patients as part of Tidewell's pet therapy program. People love to see her. She really brightens their day. She makes people smile. And in end-of-life care, a smile can be a wonderful gift. Tidewell Hospice. It's more than you think.
Since 2004, Embracing Our Differences has used the power of art and education to promote diversity. One way it accomplishes this is through its annual outdoor exhibition of 45 billboard-sized works of art, each accompanied by an inspirational quote. Join us in creating a community that is inclusive for all, where differences are embraced and individuality is celebrated. We invite you to celebrate the voices and visions of diversity and inclusion at this year's exhibit at Sarasota's Island Park.
They're coming from Tampa, Fort Myers, even Orlando. They're coming from everywhere for the Sarasota Ford Promise. Our promise means a new car you'll love. If not, return it for one you do. At Sarasota Ford, we promise live market pricing. We monitor national pricing on our entire inventory, so you get the best deal. In fact, we guarantee it. Bring us any competitor's ad, and we'll beat it by at least $1,000. That's why they're coming from everywhere to Sarasota Ford, where 41 meets 301. SarasotaFord.com.
Fun for the whole family. The 25th Annual Venice Shark's Tooth Festival, benefiting special athletes of Sarasota County. Fossil vendors, arts and crafts, food, children's games, and live entertainment. With headliners, the Gator Creek Band on Friday night, Rockin' Rogues, Kim Betts, Glass Onion, Kettle of Fish, Paisley Craze, and the Boogeymen. Admission $4. Children 12 and under free. Parking is free. The annual Venice Shark's Tooth Festival, April 7th, 8th, and 9th at the Venice Airport Festival grounds.
Are you Goodwill?
Yes, because when I donate
or shop at Goodwill,
I'm creating a job.
I am Goodwill, yeah.
The Sarasota Film Festival is March 31st through April 9th, featuring independent films from around the world, panels, parties, and conversations with stars, all happening in downtown Sarasota.
You don't want to miss it. So get your festival guide and choose the films and events you want to attend.
Buy your tickets online, by phone, or at the Hollywood 20 box office. They go fast, so get them now.
So join us to see and be seen.
Now to a rescue mission in Colorado. Paramedics worked for more than 2 hours to save a woman crushed by a 1,500-pound boulder. 2 off-duty paramedics were hiking in the area along the steep North Table Mountain Trail yesterday when they saw another man run down the trail in a panic. They rushed in to help. The woman was visiting from Europe and had met up with a friend to go climbing, but a 1,500-pound boulder fell before they had a chance to do that. The rock crushed both of her legs.
In such an unfortunate situation, that was extremely fortunate. The fact that they could get there so quickly, they could get her pulse, they could find out what her injuries were.
Rescuers used a hydraulic system to free the woman, and they were able to carry her all the way up to Snowy Hill to a waiting flight for a life helicopter. Fire crews think a recent drastic change in temperature may have caused that boulder to fall. A not-so-smooth landing for a pilot in Texas. A small plane had to make an emergency landing on a service road in Allen, Texas this morning. According to the FAA, the pilot of the single-engine Cessna reported losing engine power. He determined he wouldn't make it to an airport, so he landed on the roadway. The pilot was the only person on board, and he was not hurt. A temper tantrum at a 7-Eleven store, and it wasn't by a kid. The entire scene is captured on surveillance footage, as you can see here, clear as day in California. This man was trying to buy a bag of M&Ms, but his credit card was declined. So he goes crazy, hitting the employee and pushing the cash registers and some other items off the counter. Police say the tirade cost $700 worth of damage, a whole lot more than a bag of M&Ms. They're asking anyone who recognizes this man to come forward. In Gainesville, a puppy is safe and sound after falling into a giant sinkhole. Take a look at these pictures of the rescue on Tuesday. Cookie was apparently following her owner to her barn when she stopped to scratch and then fell into the hole, poor thing. The hole was 30 feet deep and most likely created by a heavy rainstorm the night before. The emergency vets from the University of Florida and some other crews did help rescue Cookie. It took them about 4 hours to get her out, but we are told she's just fine. And still to come on your Suncoast News, new rules for boat owners in Northport. Why the city is changing some regulations on where people can park and store their vessels.
It took a lot of work and dedication for 7 teachers to start our credit union and create a foundation that we continue to build on today. At Achieva, we never lose sight of the values that have defined us for over 75 years, and that's good to know. Achieva, banking for good.
Are you considering joint replacement or revision surgery? Consider this. Dr. Edward Stolarski has performed thousands of successful joint replacement procedures and trained surgeons from all over the world. Using advanced technologies, Dr. Stolarski is able to perform some of the most complex surgeries.
I wish I knew about Dr. Stolarski much sooner.
After the surgery, I don't have any pain. It's like I've got a 16-year-old hip.
My name's Ed Stolarski. What I really do is I give people back their life.
Schedule a consultation today.
Come into a California Closet showroom to experience our quality materials and construction. Spend time choosing from exciting colors, textures, and accessories, and then collaborate with one of our expert designers to create the perfect custom storage solution to fit your style and budget. At California Closets, we design everything to exceed your expectations for any room in your home. Go to CaliforniaClosets.com to request a free design consultation and locate the nearest showroom to you. California Closets, designed to your life.
What Florida city is best known for spaceflight?
Cape Carnival.
Cape Carnival? Close enough. What condiment includes vinegar, molasses, and anchovies?
Westchester sauce?
Close enough. And now, a word from our sponsors.
One-off from the Florida Lottery. Now available for pick 2, 3, 4, and 5 games. Miss by 1 on any or all numbers and still win.
Today, everyone is looking for carpeting that lasts longer. G. Fried has you covered with Karastan. With a legacy of quality and integrity, we provide you with a huge selection of Karastan carpets with exclusive lifetime limited warranties. All installed by our highly skilled, highly knowledgeable team. Come ask us why Karastan is the best and most durable. G. Fried Flooring America. Our world is at your feet.
So many times we underestimate the human spirit's drive to recover. We often see people surpass what any of us might have expected initially. The Rehabilitation Pavilion at Sarasota Memorial is the top of the line. It allows us to really bring the patient's recovery to the next level.
It took a lot of work and dedication for 7 teachers to start our credit union and create a foundation that we continue to build on today. At Achieva, we never lose sight of the values that have defined us for over 75 years, and that's good to know. Achieva, banking for good.